What is up, guys? I hope you all are doing well. I have not seen you all in a little bit, but I've been very busy doing various things such as getting my high school diploma. So I'm very excited for that, very excited for what's ahead. But for now, I'm here with you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Gonna be doing something a little different today. Obviously, not a whole lot of college football related items to talk about, unless you want to get into whatever's going on with Texas Tech and Texas or whatever and those scheduling conflicts. But we're doing college baseball today. Um, we're gonna be going through the super regionals, so I'm gonna make this video, which is gonna be the left side of the bracket or bracket one for the College World Series, and then bracket two will be coming out sometime, hopefully later tonight or earlier tomorrow. So the 8 teams on the left side of the bracket and the 4 matchups are West Virginia, Cal Poly, Little Rock, Troy. We all expected that one. And then Auburn, Ole Miss, and UNC, USC. So those are the 8 teams and the 4 matchups we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of each team, their tournament results, some key players to look out for, and then ultimately who I think will win each super regional. And mind you, take this with a maybe a couple grains of salt, as I probably just started watching college baseball for the first time this season, like a couple weeks ago. That's just what I do. I just start watching in the postseason. So, regardless, moving on. First matchup, the Morgantown Super Regional, West Virginia and Cal Poly. Now, these are, in terms of the head coaching matchup, Steve Sabins for West Virginia in his second season versus for Cal Poly, Larry Lee. He is in his 24th season, and yet Cal Poly has never made it this far. They won the postseason conference tournament for just the second time this year. The first, I believe, being last year. So, second time ever, second time in a row as well. And they are moving on out of the Los Angeles regional, which they were heavily not expected to make it out of there. Maybe fortunately for them, they did not have to play UCLA, although there's no doubt UCLA was not at their top form in that tournament. But a big win for the Mustangs. There are 4 teams who are making their first super regional appearance in this tournament. 2 of them I'm going to be talking about next are actually playing each other. So, further than that, one of them is guaranteed to make their first College World Series trip. So, first off, starting with West Virginia, they have a 43-15 record, including 21-9 in the Big 12, which is good enough for second in the conference. Their regional round appearance, it was a bit of a rocky road. They started with a nice win over Binghamton 10-1, but then lost to Kentucky in the winners bracket 9 or 11-9. That sent them down to an elimination game Sunday morning against Wake Forest, which they won 10-5, and then they played Kentucky again, trailing 9-6 entering inning number 9. They score 5 and they win the game by the exact same score, funnily enough, as the last Kentucky game, 11-9. And then in a thriller of a game that I actually watched live on Monday night, they won 6-5 in 10 innings. Absolutely insane game. Kentucky down by 4 runs, hits back-to-back homers, the first being a 3-run homer to tie the game, but it was not enough. So West Virginia getting through with a regional record of 4-1. Three key players to know here for the Mountaineers. First up, Gavin Kelly. Kelly had a 381 batting average on the season, 16 homers, 56 RBIs. By the way, all these stats coming from Baseball Reference, so if you want to question the stats, you can question them. That's where I get my stuff from here. Max Yale, a left-handed pitcher for the Mountaineers, had an 8-2 win and loss record. 8-2 record. 2.12 ERA in 85 innings pitched, along with 101 strikeouts. All of those numbers were good enough to get him Big 12 Pitcher of the Year this year. And then finally, Sean Smith, an outfielder originally coming from Georgia Southern, had a 313 batting average, 8 home runs, 49 RBIs. Very nice season for him. Moving along to Cal Poly, I mentioned their head coach in his 24th season, first super regional appearance for the Stangs. Very cool, very impressive. 39-22 record, 22-8 in the Big West, which I believe was tied for first, but they were second in tie breaks behind UCSB, who also made the tournament this year but did not make it this far. They did win the tournament, though, the Big West postseason tournament. Maybe the reason that they're here right now, and furthermore, just the reason they made the postseason at all. But they, as I mentioned, swept through the Los Angeles Regional. That means they went 3-0. That is a perfect record in regional play. They started off 6-2 with a win over Virginia Tech, the 2 seed, and then they ended up playing St. Mary's from California, a 4 seed in that regional. Ended up playing them twice. First time they had no issues. 14-1 ran through the Gales, sent them back to an elimination game. Second game was a bit closer, but still got away with it. 5-2 they won, swept through the regional. Key players here for the Mustangs. First off, catcher Ryan Taman, definitely a guy you want to know when you're watching Cal Poly here in this upcoming weekend. 362 batting average, 18 homers, 56 RBIs. Also a Cal transfer, Taman is. Alejandro Garza, an infield player, 325 batting average, 5 homers, 49 RBIs. He's been a nice, consistent, productive piece to that Cal Poly offense. And then in the bullpen this year, they've had Nick Bond shutting it down, 3.49 ERA, 49 innings pitched, 50 strikeouts, and his 17 saves are a Big West leader, the most in the Big West Conference this year. All right, we are almost 9 minutes in. Let's get to my first prediction. I'm gonna give this one. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 3 games. I think these are two scrappy, hungry teams. West Virginia, I think, hasn't made Omaha in a while. I know they've made the last 2 super regionals, so this is now their 3rd super regional in a row, but they've lost each of the last 2. Not similarly, but Cal Poly's just never made it here. So, 2 very hungry teams. They definitely have a lot of fire down in there. I'm going to give this one to West Virginia. I'll say West Virginia in 3 for this series. Moving on to the series that we all expected and all were hoping for. It's Troy and Little Rock, the battle of the mid-major Trojans down here. Troy not only making their first super regional appearance, but they are going to be hosting it as well. Head coached by Skylar Mead. They had a 36 and 30 overall record, 13, 17 and 13 in the Sun Belt, tied for third in the conference. They did not win the conference tournament, but they got in as an at-large team. I think in the selection show it was noted that they were the last team into the tournament, which in that way it's similar to how March Madness works with the 11 seeds or whoever else, although now with 76 teams, the last teams in are going to be the 13 seeds or whatever. But anyways, I could go on about that too, as you guys are probably well aware. Troy had a regional record of 4-1 in the Gainesville regional. They got through Miami first, lost to them 10-5, but they would come back later. The losers bracket is where they stayed the rest of the way until obviously getting to the regional final. They first beat Ryder 15-7, Miami, who they lost to earlier, 9-6, and then they played Florida in the regional final, 16-11 and 10-2. So essentially, other than that first Miami game when they only scored 5, they scored 15, 9, 16, and 10. So a hot, productive, not producting, productive offense is going to be a key to Troy victory here in this series. 3 key players here for the Trojans. Number 1, Jimmy Janicki. I would like to note Janicki is a product of Downers Grove North High School here nearby here. 349 batting average, 19 homers, 85 RBIs. Very solid season for him. Aaron Piasecki, also a 349 batting average, 9 homers, 45 RBIs. And then finally, Drew Nelson, 300 batting average, 6 homers, 45 RBIs. Also, 21 innings pitched this year for the Trojans, almost like a Shohei or a Jack Caglione situation. I do know that. I know that much about college baseball. He is an Auburn transfer as well. Moving on to Little Rock, one of the true Cinderellas of this tournament. They are a 4 seed coming out of the Hattiesburg Regional, head coached by Chris Curry. A 39-26 record overall, 16-11 in the Ohio Valley Conference, which was good enough for 4th in the conference, but they did win their conference tournament, which allowed them to be here. They made the tournament last year as well, and I want to say they won 2 or maybe even 3 games. I think they made it to the regional final, and they were, if I'm remembering correctly, they were LSU's only loss in their entire postseason run. LSU went undefeated in Omaha, undefeated in the Supers, but lost to Little Rock once. But I think they also beat them twice. But still, very impressive for this type of program. So in their second consecutive postseason appearance, but as I said, their first ever super regional appearance for the Trojans, and they did that by sweeping the Hattiesburg Regional 7-4, winning first over Southern Miss. They trailed this game 4-3 entering inning number 9, but scored 4 to win the game there, and then beat Jacksonville State, a team that a lot of people were very high on entering the regional. They beat them in back-to-back games, 8-6 in the winners bracket, and then 6-3 in the regional final to win the bracket, win the regional, and move on here to Troy. 3 key players here for these Trojans, not for Troy, but for Little Rock. Cade Smith is the first one, .329 batting average, 5 homers, and 45 RBIs for Smith. Angel Cano had a .293 batting average, 12 homers, 31 RBIs. And then finally, third baseman Nico Baumbach had a .337 batting average, 4 homers, 30 RBIs. That was, or not that, but he earned all OVC tournament honors, which essentially means you were one of the outstanding players of your conference tournament. Who do I think will win this Battle of Trojans? I've been going back and forth with this one, and I think I don't know why, because I haven't seen a lot of people pick this team to win. But I'm leaning Little Rock here. I think Little Rock is built of the right stuff. Sounds very wrong, but it just seems like it just seems like this is a team of destiny. This is the team. This is the team to go to Omaha for these Little Rock Trojans. I think obviously swept through their regional, kind of a underdog story. They weren't even top 3 in the regular season in their conference, but they're hot. They're playing their best ball right now. Give me the Trojans. And by that I mean the Little Rock Trojans to move on. Either way it goes, this definitely feels like a 3-game series. I don't think either team goes out in 2. We could be coming back to this and I could be totally wrong about that, but give me Little Rock in 3 there. So I have West Virginia and Little Rock. Moving on to the back side of the sheet, final 4 teams here. Starting off with an SEC matchup, we have Auburn and Ole Miss. Auburn head coached by Butch Thompson, a 42-20 regular season record, 17-13 in the SEC, which was good enough for tied for 6th in the conference. Mind you, they're number 4 in the country, and they were tied for 6th in the SEC. Just shows you how deep that conference is. Their regional was a bit rockier than they would have hoped, liked, or maybe expected. And it's because they lost their first game to Milwaukee, who I fully honestly wasn't totally sure had a baseball team, but I definitely am now. Great performance there by the Panthers. They were 2-0. They beat Auburn and then UCF, but then could not get it done in the regional finals. Still, though, very close to making the Supers as a 4 seed. Would have been very fun to see the Panthers move on, but Auburn gets their time in the sun for now. They lost that one 13-8. I believe they trailed 10-0, 10-0 or 9-0 at one point in that game. Lost 13-8, but from there, obviously, as we know, they must have won all of the rest of their games, and they did. 17-13 over NC State, 9-3 over UCF, and then came back in the regional final and swept Milwaukee there, 8-1 and 8-3. 3 key players here for the Tigers. Chris Rembert, their second baseman, a .345 batting average, 4 homers, 45 RBIs. Not a lot of pop numbers there, but a consistent get on base kind of guy, a big piece to have in a lineup like this. Catcher Chase Fralick, .321 batting average, 20 homers, 60 RBIs for Chase. And then on the mound, we have left-handed pitcher Jake Marciano, a Virginia Tech transfer. 5-6 record on the year, but .384 ERA in 86.2 innings pitched and 108 strikeouts. Moving along to Ole Miss, the Rebels out of the Lincoln Regional, which they swept through. I'll get to that in a bit. Their head coach, Mike Bianco, the longest tenured coach on this side of the bracket. I'll get back to you and let you guys know if he's the longest tenured coach, period, that we have left in this tournament. But 26th season for Bianco, so very impressive there, especially at a school of this caliber that expects and demands greatness. 26 seasons of head coaching, very impressive. 39 and 21 record this season, 15 and 15 in the SEC. That just shows you how deep this league is. I'm not an SEC glazer, by the way. I'm just stating facts. Not sure what you guys want me to tell you, but 15 and 15 and still in a super regional now. They were tied for ninth in the conference. They swept through the Lincoln Regional, as I said. They won 2 extra inning games over the same opponent, that was Arizona State. 7-6 they won in 14 innings in the first game over the Sun Devils, advanced to the winners bracket where they faced the regional host Nebraska. They won that one 6-3. Moving on to the regional final, they got with Arizona State again and won this one 5-4 in 10 innings. Key players for the Rebels: Will Furness, 319 batting average, 7 homers, 54 RBIs. Judd Utermark, 308 batting average, 21 homers. He is actually the all-time program leader for Ole Miss in the home run category. Very impressive for Utermark. He is absolutely a guy to watch here on your screen and against this Auburn pitching staff. 49 RBIs as well. And then on the mound, Cade Townsend, a right-handed pitcher, 5-3 record, 64 innings pitched. He had a 3.94 ERA and 88 strikeouts. Time for my third prediction here. I've got the Rebels. I've got Ole Miss. I think this is a dangerous team. They looked good. You could say what you want about the extra innings wins. I think that's great. I think that's gonna only help to serve them down the road. And just further push their endurance and push their ability to come down to the wire and win these long time games. I think that's a great testament to who they are as a team, not only winning 2 extra inning games in a regional, doing it against the same team, Arizona State. Very impressive stuff there. I've got the Rebels in 3. I think no discredit to Auburn. They're incredibly talented, and it's not that difficult to see that, but I've got the Rebels here. I think Judd Utermark's going to play a big game. I think some pitchers there for Ole Miss going to play a big game, and I've got the Rebels getting it done in Auburn. Which takes us to the final of our bracket 1 matchups. That is UNC and USC, North Carolina versus Southern Cal. UNC head coached by Scott Forbes. By the way, UNC is the 5 seed. I haven't done a great job of mentioning national seeds here, but for reference, West Virginia is 16, Auburn is 4, and UNC is 5. So those are the only ranked teams on this side of the bracket. UNC, coached by Scott Forbes, as I said, with a record of 48, 11, and 1. I don't know if that's a tie or a no contest. I didn't look that far into it. I'm honestly not even sure where you would find that necessarily, but They finished second in conference. I believe they made it to the conference championship game, but then lost to Georgia Tech. Their conference record, by the way, 22-8. UNC probably one of the more dominant teams in the regional round. They got through the 4 seed VCU 8-0 in round 1 and then ended up playing East Carolina, the 3 seed, the Pirates, I think. Not sure. Some East Carolina fan correct me there, but they got through the first time in the winners bracket 7-5, and then in the regional final, no problems there, 9-3, going 3-0. So that gets them here to this super regional where they host. They would have hosted whether it had been Texas A&M, who was the regional host on the other side, or had it been USC, who it is. Three key players to note here for UNC. First off, Owen Hull, a 372 batting average, 7 homers, 79 RBIs. He's a George Mason transfer as well. Infielder Jake Schaffner, 362 batting average, 6 homers, 44 RBIs. He's a North Dakota State transfer. And then third baseman Gavin Gallagher, 283 batting average, 12 homers, 53 RBIs. He's someone who has experience at this stage. He's been integral part of this UNC team for a couple years now. Moving on, final team, USC, the Trojans, head coached by Andy Stankiewicz. Their record 47-16. 20-10 Big Ten record, tied for third in the conference there. I think they got the 4 seed overall in the Big Ten tournament and then were bounced by UCLA in the semifinals of that tournament. They lost the first game 4-5 to Texas State, a heartbreaker there. They were up 4-3. I think they scored. It was 3-3. They scored 1 in the bottom of the 8th. They were going into the 9th up by 1. They let up 2 and they lose the game. But from there, USC was arguably one of, if not the most dominant team in the regional round at any regional. 19-6 over Lamar in the first losers bracket game, 15-4 over Texas State, 14-3 over Texas A&M in the first regional final game. By the way, those second and third games were on the same day, and then came back later on Monday night, winning 7-1 in a winner-take-all game. I think I saw somewhere that said they had the best run differential in the regional round out of anybody, which is very impressive for 2 reasons. A, they're not a national seed, they're a 2 seed, so they went into College Station and won by those margins. And 2, they lost their first game. However, they also did win 4, while if you only, or if you don't lose, if you go undefeated, you only win 3. So just something of note there, but very dominant, very impressive performance for the Trojans here. 3 key players, as always. They're all position players, so no pitchers here. Infielder Adrian Lopez with a 304 batting average, 13 homers, and 47 RBIs on the season. Number 2, outfielder Jack Basir had a 341 batting average, 10 homers, 41 RBIs. He is a Pepperdine and TCU product, so transferred from both of those places, but I think he's found a nice home here, obviously, where he can be a key contributor to a sizzling offense right now in USC. And then finally, catcher Augie Lopez, .279 batting average, 19 homers, 57 RBIs, and he was the College Station Regional Most Outstanding Player. He had a big 3-run homer to break that second Texas A&M game open, which they won 7-1, and that allowed them to move on to this Super Regional round. Alrighty, who do I think is going to win? And then we will catch you guys in the next one. So, I'm gonna lean UNC here. I think history. I'm a big trends guy. I'm a big patterns guy. I look for that. That's a lot of, college sports. It's a lot of what it is. And UNC, I think, made the tournament. I want to say 2 years ago, with a super regional victory. I think they're gonna do it again here. I think USC is a hot team. My research is correct. They started off the season very strong and then cooled off a bit as the season went on, but they're playing good ball right now, obviously good enough to not only get through but dominate the College Station Regional. But I think UNC is just going to be a little too much. I think the Diamond Heels get it done, and they're going to Omaha, where they will become the Omaha Heels. That's, you might laugh at that, and I think it's a bit ridiculous, but I think they actually do call themselves that. So, anyways, final predictions, lock 'em in. West Virginia, Little Rock, Ole Miss, UNC. We'll see where that gets me this weekend. I will have the second part of this super regional preview here with the right side of the bracket. So that's going to be everybody else who, let's see, that's Oklahoma, Kansas, Alabama, St. John's, Oregon, Texas, Georgia, Mississippi State. So that's going to be in the next video, which should be coming out soon, and I will see you guys then.